Hi, I am Kate Schroeder. I am from Kansas City, Missouri. I am a ceramic sculptor and functional potter, and I have been a career Red Star resident for 2 years. I started working in clay as a child, and then in high school is when my kind of love and passion really developed. We had a ceramics program there, and I was lucky to go to a high school where we had 7 art teachers, and we had a painting department and a ceramics department and a design department, and ceramics is really where I found the most joy and comfort. And so I took 4 semesters of ceramics as a high school student and had anticipated being a ceramics major. But when I got to school, I discovered sculpture. And so I switched my degrees and did sculpture as a primary, but then I double majored, having ceramics as kind of a secondary. And that way I could still use ceramic clay as a material, but then I could use any other material under the sun that I wanted as well. It's changed it by giving me community back, which is the whole reason that I applied to the residency. Prior to coming here, I had been working out of my home studio, all alone every day, just working away, which you can focus while doing that. I've been doing it again now that we're in the middle of a pandemic, but it is quite lonely. And when the only person that I see is my husband when he comes home from work day after day, it gets a little tiring. And ceramics really is a community art form. We thrive off of other clay people, whether it's just because of the equipment that you need or what it takes to fire certain kilns, or even just troubleshooting all of the technical things that can come up in ceramics. I have been really working towards making work that is joyful and nostalgic. Those are 2 things that I think the joy oftentimes comes out of nostalgia in my work. But when I was in undergrad and grad school, everything that I made was really about hard things that had happened to me. And it was, it was rooted in challenging times and anger and sadness. And I did that work as a way to get it out. But now I'm working on the opposite of trying to make work that is happy and you want to look at it, and it's an escape from a lot of the things that we see in our world and in our society. But each of these pieces is also very personal to me. So it's something that you can read in my artist statement, but the 2-dimensional elements versus the 3-dimensional elements really matter. So you'll notice the 3-dimensional elements really focus on plants books in ceramic pieces. And the plants are about my matrilineal line. My great-grandmother was a botanist, and my mother and grandmother owned a flower shop. So I really come from plant people. I also have lots of living plants on my own, but these ones are just a way to kind of pay homage to them. I'm a reader myself, but not nearly as much as my husband. He has about 4,000 books jammed into our house, and any time that he's not doing something, he has a book. There's a book in every coat pocket and every pants pocket. There's just always books. So these really are for him. And then the tiny little pots just pay homage to my career and where my focus is in the material all being made out of clay now, whereas before I was making a lot of work out of metals and wood. I had been working in the kind of craft show and art show scene for a while, and at that point in time, I felt myself being more of a manufacturer. When I was going to art shows, I was bringing pots, but they were kind of a production line of pots. And I also have a jewelry line that I bring to craft shows. And feeling like a manufacturer was kind of beating me down because I'm an artist at heart. I'm not a manufacturer. And one of the things that kind of changed for me the most is I'd wanted to get out of that. So I stopped making my production line of pots, and then I had an art show that I was supposed to go to, and they kind of reached out to say, hey, we noticed that you're changing your work and we want you to know we love it, but the jury did not select that work. So if you'd still like to participate in this art show, you have to bring the style work that you applied with. And I did it. I went backwards and I made more of those production pots, but it just hurt my soul. And so from that moment on, I decided I would never let anyone stifle my creative process again, including myself. So I allow my work to evolve constantly. And for me, that's the excitement of never knowing what the end result is going to be, because everything I'm doing is different and new. And this body of work that I've created, I just started making in January and it was finished by May, and I've produced a lot more of it and I'm really liking it, but I've already seen an evolution happening within this work as well. So that moment where someone told me to make old work, I'd say is that moment. We're communicators. We give a voice to the voiceless, and by that I don't mean people who don't have a voice. It's emotions that don't have a voice and concepts that don't have a voice. We can say so much with visual objects. So you can see my work on my website. Search for Kate Schroeder Ceramics and you'll find me through Instagram. And my tag on there is @Kate_Schroeder_ceramics.